shot out of the way. I'm more than happy, more than excited to have my wonderful guest tonight. Oh, man, I have to get it right because I rehearsed your name 100 times last night, even before I took a shower. I said, I got to get her name right. Marcia Haufrecht.
Perfect.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, member of the Actors Studio, director, actor, writer, painter, artist. Obviously, you can do it all.
Yeah, I sweep too.
Yeah, me too, and I mop.
Do windows.
And do windows.
Right,
and clean
right.
toilets.
We do all of it.
We do everything. We don't care. I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
I look into those eyes. Very nice, hazel and green. And we're going to talk about Marcia tonight. It's all about acting, her craft. Where do we start? It's a little tough, but hey, before we do that, I want to mention that last night I was at the theater. I went to see Angelica Page, my girl.
Great.
At The Best Man on Broadway. Awesome production. She was beautiful. She's so talented, but she blew me away. James Earl Jones, incredible. Sybil Shepherd, I was replaced by Angelica Page. Very happy to see that. Kristen Davis, Jefferson Mays, that's the actor that we're talking about.
Right.
It was incredible. I'm just sending my love to you, Angelica, baby. This is your last weekend, I think. You're closing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they're closing on Sunday. It was extended for a few days, but quite remarkable. It's so nice to see great actors in action.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, it is.
And it's so tough to get the gig and so tight to get the job. I mean, it's so damn hard. Why do we do this, Marcia? Why do we like to suffer so much?
Communication.
Ego?
Communication.
Not ego.
No.
We don't have ego. Actors, we don't have ego?
No,
Yes,
we
do.
have ego, but
It's communication.
but we don't do it for our ego. We do it
No,
to
of course
communicate
not.
with other people.
Communicate.
The audience, you
The
know.
audience. Okay,
Yeah.
let's talk about you. Where do we start, Marcia? Where do you want to start?
Oh
I know
dear. That
it's
isn't good.
No. The reason why, because it's like, we can see you as an actor, your upbringing, your background. You used to be a dancer.
Yes.
Very interesting. So
I started as a dancer.
started
Actually, I knew when I was 5 or 6 years old I wanted to dance and I wanted to take dance lessons. So my parents gave me piano lessons.
Beautiful. So you learn musical, just like
Yeah.
that? It was easy
No,
for you?
no.
No, not at all.
My father was a composer and a musician.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
See,
that's
now you put it in my
that's
place.
why they got me started with music lessons instead of what I wanted, which was dancing lessons.
Was dancing. How you made that transition from dancing to acting?
When I graduated performing arts as a dancer, I was a modern dancer actually, and right away I got a Broadway show. I got Plain and Fancy.
Plain and Fancy.
Because
yes.
Helen Tamiris, who was the choreographer, had worked with my father, so she really fought to keep me. I mean, I was a barefoot dancer.
Cool.
Broadway producers had no interest in barefoot modern dancers, so she had to fight for me. So she took someone that they wanted that she didn't particularly want if they would accept me. Cool. So that's how I got my first show.
Because it's pretty wild. You know, of course, you remember the Actors Studio, and you're a playwright, and I seen your work at the Actors Studio. You blow everybody away. You always do. But it's like when we see actors like you, it's overwhelming when I see you on stage. I mean, you're so good and you're so present and you're so powerful. How can you be that good? I mean, it's a training, the work, studying with Lee Strasberg, I don't know with how many teachers you've been around.
Basically Lee.
Basically Lee Strasberg.
Yeah. I had studied for about 4 years before with a woman named Nola Chilton, who, after I had studied with her, she moved to Tel Aviv and she opened a theater there. But she was great. I loved her. We did a production. She directed a production of Dead End with Dustin Hoffman, Ron Liebman,
and
Kercheval, and I was in it. I played Francie the whore.
Oh, you remember that? Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And when I was done, I was going to quit acting.
Why?
Because I didn't think that I was as good as Ron or Dusty or any of them. I thought they connected with the audience, and I felt I didn't connect. Nobody could hear me. Everything I did was, like this. I would do a scene, and you couldn't hear me, and you couldn't see me. I had long, dark hair, and it was all covering me.
Interesting.
I was basically hiding because I didn't believe a thing I was doing or saying. So I was going to quit, and everybody said, no, no, no. Ron said, you got to go study with Lee. So he took me to meet Lee, and Lee took me into his classes, and my whole life changed, as an actor.
You remember your first class with him? Do you remember the first time that you and him were face-to-face?
Yeah, well, we weren't exactly face-to-face. I was in a chair doing relaxation,
right.
like this. And he came over and he lifted my arm.
To see if you had any tension?
Yeah, and he held my head, and he said, it's okay. He said, it's okay to hate your mother.
Oh, that's a good one.
And I said, I don't hate my mother, and I started crying. Okay. That was my first thing.
That was your first, like an acting experience. That's an acting experience right there. That was your awakening, perhaps?
Yes, that was the start.
That was the start.
Yeah.
And you couldn't stop. Right after that, you couldn't stop.
Right.
Why he got this ability to open up? I mean, why he was so good at what he was? I mean, what was his gift?
Well, the key really was he had an eye for truth.
Right.
The basic, most important thing for him was relaxation. And if you're a person who has a lot of shit going on, can I say that?
Oh, please do.
Who has a lot of shit going on.
Please do. And by the way, you look beautiful with that light blue top.
Oh, thank you.
I forgot to bring that up, but you look lovely, baby. Let's keep going. Let's keep talking.
So if you're someone with a lot of shit and you start to relax, as you start to relax, whatever's going on surfaces, because the way we hold back what we're feeling and thinking is through tension. Our shoulders, our jaw, our eyebrow, we hold on physically. So as soon as you start to let go physically, whatever's there surfaces. So if somebody is particularly, emotional, as I was, I don't think I had cried a day for like maybe 15 years when I started with Lee.
Wow.
I just, I was a New Yorker,
Right, you're a tough cookie.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to mess around with you,
Right.
But he had the eye. He
got right to it. He cut right to the
And then he made you angry? That he made you because he...
Oh, I used to have fights with him.
Oh, that's what I want to hear. That's what people want to hear.
Come
on, bring it on. Bring it on.
We used to have practically knockdown dragouts. But thank God he loved me because, we would fight about what I was doing or wasn't doing or what I thought, and we'd get into these arguments. But
he was a good listener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you were talking something personal, he was a great listener. But if you were talking bullshit. He didn't have the patience for that.
And how he was able to fix the problem? I read that he was pretty good at fixing things out. Wonder how he did that.
Well, just by cutting to the core of what your truth is. What your truth is. I remember sometimes he would work with people, and it was great. In my teaching, I started doing this all the time. He didn't do it all the time. But I would, while people are working on a scene, I would talk to them while they're working. He did that every once in a while, and it was great when he did it because he would do something like say, well, what are you thinking? What are you thinking, darling? What are you thinking? And people would say, they would, make some character comment. They'd say what they thought the character should be thinking. He said, no, not the character, you. What are you really thinking? Because he could see that something was going on, but that wasn't coming through somehow.
Right.
And then you'd say what you're thinking, and he said, well, this is my favorite. He used to say, there is no magic key, but this is the magic key. And he had it. The magic key is, okay, I'm thinking, God, I'm freezing in this place, and I'm really so tired. I don't want to be doing this role. And he says, now, is it possible that the character is thinking the same thing? Okay. And he'd say, I don't know. No. Yeah, well, he said, why might the character be thinking the same thing? Well, because the character is such and such and so and so. It always works. It always works. You can always convert whatever you're really thinking and really feeling into the character. Mm-hmm. It's like magic.
But it's you have to be courageous. You have to be brave.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
I want to talk about that.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. You have to be courageous.
It's the simplest and the hardest thing in the world to do.
Right, and you got to take, fucking risk.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to be good, I don't care what you do. You can't play it safe.
No,
you?
No, you can't. You can't.
Cannot.
You
really gotta get yourself out there and even look like a fool like myself 24/7. Because you gotta take risk, right? But sometimes you wonder because you let yourself go. You say, I want to be free. I want to be free.
Well, what happens, is oh God. You're working on a role, you're acting, you're, saying your lines, you're doing your thing. And now I do anyway, in there I'm saying, God, you're so full of shit. This is not what's going on with you, Marcia. What's really going on? Well, you're really pissed because that person did such and such and so on. Okay, why might the character? And I'm of an age now where I can talk to myself on the stage. Right? I do it. Yes, I do. I say, well, because, and people completely accept it.
Good. Well, they should accept it.
Yes.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? So you're not crazy at all?
No.
You're 100% on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because when I talk to myself on stage, I'm getting myself...
You're getting yourself into the zone?
Yes. I'm getting myself into...
Locked in the moment?
To connecting where I'm at with the character, making that connection.
What makes a good actor? What makes a bad actor a good actor? What makes a good director a bad director? What makes you good on stage, on film? Marcia, you're a teacher, you're an acting coach, you taught everybody. As far as I'm concerned, yes, you had. So you got some answers. What makes a good actor? When you go to the theater, how often do you go to the theater?
The only thing I can say is truth.
That's what my girl. You hear that? You hear that? Truth.
Yeah. Simple, right. but really hard to make that. I mean, how often in life do we connect with the truth of what's going on with us? How often?
Right.
We bullshit ourselves all the time.
We do.
And other people.
Right. And
so an artist has to really
get in touch with your reality.
Yes. Yeah. And genius artists, genius actors don't even have to think about it.
They just do.
They just are. They just are.
Do. You see, I can look at you in the eye and say, okay, I'm gonna forget about the cameras because you know how to hold the attention. You do it pretty good. Yeah. I think you're talking all day long, Marcia. Now, acting, painting, writing. Let's talk about painting.
Okay. Well, first, let me tell you how I started acting. Because
as a dancer, oh yeah, I forgot. I'm sorry. Let's do it. Yes.
As a dancer. I did Plain and Fancy, and then shortly after that, I got a job in the touring company of Can. And I think the only reason they hired me was because it was in the dead of summer. The only people that showed up for the audition were strippers. They weren't really dancers. So they had to hire me. I was the only dancer that showed up because I was the shortest one they'd ever had in that show. So... then I auditioned, after I was done with King, I auditioned for a lot of shows, and I couldn't get anything. I'd get down to the last 12, and they were using 10, and then I'd be out. And one day I auditioned, I don't know if it was for Damn Yankees, or it was a Bob Fosse show. And I'm down to the last, 15, and he needed 12 or something like that. And he pulls me aside, and he says, I'd love to use you, Marcia. You're a wonderful dancer. You really are. But you're too short. I said to myself, that's it. I'm out of here.
Right, that's very upsetting to hear.
I'm not dancing anymore. Yeah.
Good for you. Well, you're a hell of an actor.
Well, thank you.
What are you dancing for? I mean, with all due respect, all arts come together, but, that was your calling. This is your calling.
Yes, yeah. Well, I feel now like all the arts are my calling. I mean, I'm focused more on theater than anything, but